Heroic, Elevate, and Empire. Now, that's a name that isn't around anymore. So, that's for BDS. Liquid, they've played it a whole lot more. 11 times in total, won it 6 times out of that. So, a pretty 50-50 map for both of these in terms of the actual results. It's just that one team likes it a lot more than the other.
I think, okay, goodbye Alibi. Targeting there, the removal of... You just cut away a lot on the left and the right of the screen. You just have to ban Ash and Alibi. And there's so many ranked stars that are just like...
Why?
Damn it. Zami as well. I think this is in line with good bans for this tournament. I think this is in line with the focus that needs to be paid and the sort of attention to their opponents, to each other's teams. And then we go from here.
We move on from here, indeed. And Bar seems to become the first staging area. As we'll quickly look over those last 10 players for last time. Again, one of these is going to go home. And the winner is going to go up against M&M, a team that went flawless through groups, hadn't dropped a single map. And they are also fighting for survival because their first day in playoffs did not bode well for them.
Well, that's sort of it, but you also have to look at how things work. So if you're unfamiliar with the sort of pick selection of who hit heads with who, yesterday, only the top 2 seeds were actually able to choose who they wanted to go against. Because of the sorting system, you have to play somebody in a different group. There has to be changes. They cannot just go from, you know, the 1 and 2, or the 2 and 3 even of one group into the 2 and 3 hitting heads immediately. So BDS ended up with W7M. Which, considering it's W7M and considering the year that they've had and considering they were the top seed of the whole tournament, that wasn't an easy fight. It went a long way, and well, this might not. Alems finds Ask, Nesk finds EFAC.
Very early double kill coming through here.
You could say that.
Just a bit of aggression, just a bit of explosiveness to start off with. EFAC being gone, let's hope that he put up all of his EDDs. Be creating a bit of a smaller opening on the snowmobile garage there by not actually putting the R-Series hero on it, just to provide a bit of insecurities towards the defenders who are playing down there, if they are, and not putting yourself in too much danger for a potential run out that could happen later on, because they would have to crouch through. It takes a bit more time, gives you about half a second extra to reply. Paulo going up to the rappel onto the balcony. Looking long, actually going up to the roof, so is Nesk. Bit of a reformulation coming around from the Liquid players. There might be some pace right behind this as well.
Well, we talked about how powerful these maps can be. In Chalet, we haven't seen a huge amount of it from BDS. It's had a bit of a showing inside group stages so far. It was a fight against Lost One. It was the sort of make and break of the final. Ooh, slipped on by. The final map, it went all the way into OT. We've had a win and a loss throughout groups from the side of Liquid. They suffered the wrong end of a 4-7 versus Sonics, but then sort of Transdial was on at 7-3.
Not at stake here. It's like we had in our previous game where FaZe got eliminated. It's BDS now looking to do the same as their European counterparts. Of course, very early on in the best of 3. Grenade used to get rid of the Aruni gate. E1D pops, and that means some amount of pressure should be coming down right now from Liquid over the top, as they are moving a lot, but all completely blind as well. No kill coming on the back of it, but a lot of ground has been gained. They have cleared out that top floor. Now they can start going down towards the bar and the gaming area. Whilst there is still some pressure about a potential player being downstairs and coming up for a flank, you see the drones being set up for it.
Yeah, watched on the camera, the flash is round, they don't get swung on as of yet. They're popping some attention downwards, but they've got to see if they can try and make the break happen. Renshira caught by resets from above. Lagona's getting the hot drone intel on Brede, finally spots it. Alems watching the back end to make sure they don't entirely swing their way through. They're still, that vertical on top floor is causing big problems. Shaiko, he's tempted to rotate his way back in. Brede gets the double inside the site and sort of holds off the round. Palu gets one end to it, but without the diffuser and with the 2 remaining BDS players stacked up on the bottom of blue, BDS with the perfect start.
Brede holding on to the site well there, picking up those 2 crucial kills to take out all the wind that could have been in the sails of Team Liquid on that initial push. They find the first. Their energy starts building. That's something that we know from BDS. Once everything goes well, they are a very audible team. They are a team that will start living on that momentum. And of course, there is more emotion in this game than there might be in others, because first of all, it is going to be that knockout game. If you lose this,
oh yeah,
you're going to be going home. But second of all, you've beat them about 3 months ago.
It's a grudge match, though.
For your first ever international title.
It's a grudge match for both teams. It could have been this sort of modern iteration of Liquid's bite back. It could have been their perfect statement as the lead in. It could have been the sort of, you know, unfortunate trifecta, I'm sorry to say, at APAC, but throughout the last year, an NA winner, an EU winner, was almost a Latin American winner at 2 of those events. And yet they found themselves, unfortunately, the sort of residual runner-up against the EU teams. Now, one of those 2 almost finalists gone at this point.
Yeah. Of course, they won the Javle Major. That was last year. Well, that's it.
But that's
not last year.
That's miles away in different teams.
It is.
Can Liquid be that Latin American response here? The first round goes away from them. It's BDS's opening defense. It's tricky to hold your defenses onto Chalet.
It is tricky. It's proven tricky. But for now, they're holding on. 30 seconds have passed. We haven't had a very explosive start to the round as we had to the very first. A bit more of a slowed down approach coming in from Liquid, as they are starting to open up windows. They are starting to get drones in place, but they aren't quite pushing through the building just yet because they're unable to. Because the BDS players, they have set themselves up close to the entry points, and of course, as I say, that Ask is the first to go in. Spotted out the lesion, but didn't fire.
No, kept himself alive for this. And there's the take, the reveal, and with that, the motion of swinging around, he can get a little bit more territory right up against Box, because suddenly they can't just swing round a little bit closer. You don't quite know how close they are. The extra 20 paces, a drone just caught Shaiko's movement here, and drones are vicious on this map. The breach of the wall, the slight swing back. He's gonna hold on just for a second, pops another drone, finds himself back to the hatch before they can spray through, and survives.
It's most important, he's carrying that C4 as well. Be detrimental if Liquid is grouping up a little bit too much, or if only your most important player gets picked up by C4. That's very close. Nesk, gotta be careful there. Some noise is being made. He is close to that C4, but Shaiko has no clue whether or not to pop it. It's pretty far coming through, actually deciding to take the gunfight instead of blowing it up.
Yeah, he almost had the catch there, but yeah, it comes a little bit too late. They've got themselves some control. They're forcing the players out from the default plant spot, tucked behind the A-bomb chassis if you're approaching from this end, and not going for the big fight on the wall on the opposite end. They have the man advantage, and they want to see if they can try and force it rather than run the gauntlet and gamut of let's try and get this kid down. And Shiro just tucks tail, turns the corner and survives, but look at the shepherding that Liquid has done. They forced the BDS players towards the back end. The shotgun's still making dangerous work, but the second C4, I mean, well, actually it's the first. It was Shaiko's from hours ago at this point. The blinds come, the drop into the fight itself. EFAC's able to get Ask on the back end. Lagonis has the kit, they have the cover. And this is the plant spot they wanted. Shaiko gets caught on the swing round. There's a response from Brede, and there's a trade out on the back end, but Lagonis now. Technical 2 versus 1. There's cameras behind him though. And that was pretty tricky to win.
Injuries there, confirm as well, the pickup and the counter defuse. 2-0 for BDS. I have to say though, there was a lot of verticality going on from Liquid. There was not much from BDS to counter. Of course, that 1C4 eventually did find success, but as you mentioned, it was played like 2 minutes before it actually found anything.
It was there a long time. At first you thought, has he messed up his opportunity? I heard one pop off. I assumed that was his.
Yeah, there might have just been a grenade or something that popped up either, but...
And, I mean, why do I sit here and question Shaiko?
I don't know.
Why does anybody...
Why is Shaiko?
How is Shaiko? Nobody asks when is Shaiko. I mean, it was... Some things line up there. They waited for the buck to come around. Patience pays off. Got the reward. And, you know, you could see what Liquid were doing, and they'd done most of the work to get it. The fact that the kill went down was a sort of testament to that. But without that man advantage at that point, that sort of gun trade game, losing vertical as well and having that fall away from you, it just becomes tricky, is the easiest way of putting it.
I'm just saying, like, Renshiro being allowed to rotate all the way through like he did before, like when they were having two people on the top floor, the Buck going after him with the skeleton key, and somehow him still escaping into dining alive, that shouldn't happen either. Either way. Shaco is patiently punching away the last pixel that is holding this little piece together.
Oh dear.
He's given up.
I mean,
shotgun or something like that.
Very well-made wall.
It's a very well-made wall indeed. It doesn't want to be punched out.
So the approach towards the basement here, you can either see a sort of control over the big fireplace area, the pressure onto the plant, and whether you do it by trash or you just do it tucked at the bottom of the swing stairs. That's one side, the other is a west main. It's sort of one or the other. You either will get this open anyway, that's just part of the sort of pressure. But from this, they'll probably start to, no, it's on the back end, look at that. Ness can ask, instantly in, there's EFAC. He's gonna see if he can try and move in. Caught on a drone at the same time. He's not gonna sit around, he doesn't want to suffer, but Shaiko sure does. There's a zip to the top. Palu's on the hunt round the back. Neska's a kill, and well, I said it's often one or the other. EFAC at least stops both of them. I thought he was only able to get one, but I mean, there's suddenly this pop back in. Lagonis, he slipped the kid in via trash on the opposite end. Ask is suddenly a bit isolated as well, and they went for something bright, bold, and brilliant, but BDS just rebuffed it, threw them back into it. The retake of the verticality, once again, plays a huge part, and you can see they're concerned about, well, where is BDS watching us from? This is a smart play. You're not quite able to get the catch. There's no way to stop this plant. It's being fervently watched, and we're in a post-plant situation, but can they try and hold off this approach?
Now going to have a player inside blue, Ask, who is going to be finding one, but that means his position is known. The instant trade comes through, but Lems is down on a single point of HP. Lagonis gets himself on top of the table. He's watching blue. He's aware of the fact that Lems was there just moments ago, and he's going to go for that swing. The pre-fire comes in, but he finds the win. Renshiro gets the kill. The counter defuse is on its way. And 3-0 is going to be on the board.
BDS, they have a focus, and it is watertight right now. They are making sure that anything Liquid attempts is kind of encapsulated and pushed back off, and sure, 2 plants go down. But look at the BDS movement.
Yeah.
They realize we can't stop this right now. They realize this kit is in this position, so they rotate away, they pull themselves back, they sort of see the empty space, and, you know, Liquid might become the vessel that it fills, but at the minute, it's just BDS's cup, and they're not spilling a drop.
They're definitely not. And sometimes that's the right way to go about it. Just let them get that plan down, because they will confine themselves to full walls that they're going to be stuck behind, and you have the entire play space to go with, to go for that retake. And if you have a man advantage, that's going to be working out fine if you're a team like BDS. So well done to them. No stress.
Some stress.
So, okay, a little bit of stress. I mean, plants are still going down, and
I think it's unfair to say no stress.
No, okay, but I mean, so far these rounds are still going their way, and yes, some have been closer than others. Very true. One did come down to a 1v1 in the end.
Yeah.
But they're getting away with it for now. So it's not like the round count should give them any stress right now.
No, and you sort of get a taste of where the pressure's coming from. Bride is the only player that's died every single round. He's the sort of focus, is the site, is where Liquid wants to put the pressure here.
Yeah.
It's taking some semblances of heroics. EFAC winning against Nesk on one story and then swinging for Palu on the next. Not many players can pull off those movements, and that is one of the things, that gun game, that just hasn't really been connecting on Liquid's side throughout this tournament. The entrance here, they're holding into the corner for as long as possible. You assume there's Grismots on either side. The support structure of the window, they're going to leave now. Fair enough. They're not caught on the route round. Renshiro, he's caught though. Palu breaks his way in, takes the kill, and the entry statistics have been very good for Liquid throughout this tournament, but unfortunately the follow-up hasn't quite matched.
That's it, right? Like, the entries, they keep on going Liquid's way. It's just that someone of BDS is always able to turn the tide around and find one or two in the round itself to find themselves in that leading position. Lagonis, he's in front of the window, is looking to find a way through. He's looking to get himself a plant. As Ask takes down Liquefact, an instant reply happens again. And Lems retakes the stairs. Now, as long as the player is still inside a pantry for BDS, that plant is not going to be happening. They're not going to be going for that jump in. And as Lems is going up to the top floor again, well, he might be finding himself some gold here.
Well, that's it. Shaiko was around that. Shaiko's dropped down. He's watching from dining across fireplace on the opposite end. They've sort of surrounded Liquid, and this is exactly what we talked about. BDS, they're happy to rebuild and remold themselves. It makes things awkward. Lagonis, if he swings too far to his left, you assume Shaiko will get the catch and the clip there. Bride, he's caught out. Lagonis drives into sight, and they're watching above. They've not handed over the verticality this time. So Shaiko, he's going to see if he can fight his way down the corridor. At the same time, Alems fights from above. The plant is going round, but as I said, fervently watch, Shaiko does get Nesk. Lagonis is picking up, removing, selecting the choice of the plant behind the drop on the hatch. Did he hear it? Yes, he did, but he cannot make the connection, and Liquid, you see how much that round means.
Paulo on the cover right there. He got the opening. He found two more afterwards. That's what they need. Let them get back alive. It's Liquid, they have been struggling. There's no two ways about it. Liquid shouldn't be a team that finds themselves in the losers bracket this early on. Neither should BDS, by the way. But now one of them is going to go home either way. And that means that this game is just so loaded with emotions and with pressure on both sides. Not only because what it means for the 6th Invitational, but because of what happened in Jönköping.
What happened in Jönköping?
Well, I'm glad you asked. It was it was a grand final between these two, and it was a very close grand finals. And it eventually was BDS that was able to take the upper hand in the game and take the victory and the trophy home.
The strange thing about it, although it was a 5-mapper, although it run the gauntlet and the sort of all the way through, it opened with a 7-1, I believe, in BDS's favor, and then it sort of bounced back, and none of the maps really went above 7-4, 7-5s. Like, everything was back and forth, but more as a grander scheme trade, and there's a lot less time to do that here across these 3 maps that we have. So if one of them turns into a brawl that, you know, maybe you lose, but at least you're a step ahead, it might herald slightly different net profits.
On economics now, so
my very thin understanding of, but I do know impact tricks. They're able to find, oh, well, not the full bite, but I think they'll take that instead. Ask is gone, EFAC gets the entry.
And with that, you lose your heart breach. Not quite sure how much he already had tossed out, but considering that the top wall is closed. Okay, there you go. One set of Selma has been tossed out, has made an opening.
An awkward one, though.
Off, yeah, but it is an opening nonetheless, right? So
yeah,
it means that they do have something to work with, even though it's not ideal. It has to be enough.
Sort of the thing about that positioning as well, it's a crouched opening. They're going to have to try and slink their way through if they want to do the chassis plant. As I said before, you've got the sort of 2 sides of this. If you want to push for the plant they had last time, you clear above, which it seems like they're rotating to try and do, and then tuck it in on the back end. You have to do less sort of fighting and more sort of shepherding. On the other side, well, you still clear above. You don't have to do the full clear of above. You just have to clear yourself around here onto box, which EFAC has decided he wants to take over. And then the route through towards planting on the chassis and just sort of have this as a big firing range. But there's that demonstration. There's not a full catch on it. Shaiko suffers a bit. If EFAC is unknown here, though, this could be a bit of a turn. Parlu behind the piano has the awareness, and Nesk is the pickup.
Good cleanup coming through right there, but there's still some players up above. It's Lems who is going to get swung on and gets his head taken off by Nesk. More flashbangs land. It's going to be wasting some seconds on the attack, but they've got that top 4 under control. The last 3 members of BDS all down horizontally. And now that verticality can come into play. 45 seconds. Do they have anything? Well, they got some bullets and they're using them, but Nesk is going to take small amounts of damage as well as Rinchiro falls back. He makes a lot of noise by jumping on top of that trophy machine there as resets. It's going to be taken out. Shaiko goes for the double as well. Leaves it only up to Bride now.
BDS, they've fallen a bit apart there, and sees the side of them on the opposite end. It's rare to see Nesk that fired up this early in a series. He knows the team needs the energy. He knows they need that fire, and he knows they're starting to bring it a little bit there from what was good play on the first couple of rounds that wasn't punished against BDS. The rotations, the movement. This is a Liquid that seems a lot more astute. They are paying attention. The push there onto EFAC after losing the first in. He moved into the space. He thought he was sort of untouchable, but Palu was watching the door, you assume, for a while, waiting for Nesk to do the rotate round.
Yeah, that's it. They worked together to clear him out there. They had the understanding he was there, and he had the utility to basically put him out of there. And that's exactly what they needed. You mentioned it before. Like, if you want to go for a plant, you need to have that top floor control.
Yeah.
If the defenders are up top, you are basically asking them to please win this round, please drop the diffuser for us, and, you know, just make us head to the next. So Liquid, they did everything they needed to do there. No questions about it. And now suddenly we find ourselves at 3-2, right after I said no stress. Suddenly, it's panic mode.
Yeah, remember when I said, it's not quite no stress?
It's not quite no stress, no.
Yeah, it's not quite no stress. It never was. And this is the thing, you have Liquid still knocking on the door. There's a lot of other teams that wouldn't have been able to deal with them. They would have either tried to push too much in front of it, or they wouldn't have gone for the retakes as BDS have done. And, you know, Liquid were only over a couple of steps away from getting themselves in. The catch of the drone, the reveal of the claw, and the play against it. There's the impact DMPs. They knew where the claw was. It has moved, and that gets it off.
What?
There was a second claw thrown after they got the drone. It's a bit of a missed timing. They still have one of the exothermics in pocket, but what they now don't have is the impact DMPs on anybody.
Well done by Bride there, but just tossing up a second claw in a different spot whilst picking up the one that got impacted. Finds himself a single exothermic, and that means there's only that, you know, little bit less of a giant hole they can be walking through. Luckily, they still have Palu, of course, as well, on the ace, so 3 Selmas can be used, but
the wall's electrified. Wow.
Electrified, so a grenade needs to roll in to get rid of the Electroclaw.
It's going to turn this into a much slower clear now. And obviously, the last time was a rush, a bit of a blind swing at the site to smash and grab their way through it. Here, though, when you need to deal with those claws and you need to deal with some of the control of the map space, you have to take step by step, slow through, over the top there. Not going to fall victim to a punished swing. But the rotations from BDS often happen once a bit of time has passed. EFAC was above last time round. This time he's watching towards the entrance of the door. You'd have to be a fool to run into this without checking it. And you know, that's not going to happen.
Ask up above, with the Gemini coming out as well, means that Liquefac doesn't really have a safe way of rotating back. He's going to be doing it anyway, as the Hench wasn't quite, you know, watching for his entry that way. It's not possible to watch it that way, so he finds himself safe. But the opening will still be made. Wine is going to be under attack as the exothermic will blow up. It's going to be allowing them to go for a deep run and a plant afterwards if no one of BDS is in position to stop it from happening.
Grenades bouncing around, they're trying to get angles, they want the claw, they find it, and that opens the sidewall. Renshiro, just before he got flashed, was tempted with the swing, gets caught out whilst being unable to see, resets, finds EFAC as well, and with Shaiko getting one, he gets downed in the process. The plant will be secured as Lagonis just out of range, but they bite through, and there it is. A 3 apiece, even half. Palu with a couple on the end there to tie to the couple he had before. And if we wanted those guns to be firing throughout the tournament, they're making sure they're starting to hit when it matters the most.
They're definitely firing now, indeed. On a do-or-die game. The first of today for them, potentially is second to come up. And Liquid starting to get alive right here now, going over towards their defense, starting up on that top floor on the bedroom. Gonna see how they are gonna be able to deal with the aggression that BDS can bring. Because they started growing in to the second part of that first half. 3 rounds in a row. Basically, getting the entry twice, working on getting that plan down as well. Very, well, oriented towards getting, you know, that plan down, towards playing the objective, and isolating BDS as a result of it worked out wonders for them. But now they're on the defense, and then that means that, you know, you just have to endure whatever is coming at you here. BDS is going to be dictating the pace for the second half.
Can they try and steal back some of the thunder, the momentum that has otherwise just been ripped from their hands? As I said, the two big guns have started to fire, and they sure are noisy, but it's also worth sort of the effort of the rest of the squad. Ask resets, getting themselves in on the gun as well. The gun is obviously playing that support role from the first 3 rounds, going away from them to the 3 that we saw there without a timeout in the middle. There's a huge return to force, and again, you can see it. They know that this is a high-impact game and the team capable because of the meeting not too far in the past. The break on towards the mirror window, they want to just quickly pop up and get this done. If someone's on the top of blue, they should be able to get rid of these, and they're trying to get it from the range. There's resets doing his best, but it does get popped off.
Wall will be opened up, an entry kill comes in as well. Likafak now heading up on the actual blue stairs. There's still going to be a defender or two out there that he needs to deal with. And he's fully aware as well. It's actually being pushed. I don't think he knows. It's a super shorty on the top of the stairs here.
You're going with some bold revenge here in the super shorty. They hope the Nook was just holding it a bit close. They've moved away. They're not going to risk being sort of handing that balance back. The bounce over the top doesn't get the full catch, but Shaiko does. There goes Ask, and Lagonis is surrounded by ghosts of the French, and unfortunately, the dead of his own team. Up round on the back of the fireplace stairs, waiting for maybe a swing to come against them. They have the verticality, but look at this, BDS. They're like, well, the site's over here. We've done the damage. Let's pay some attention, force them to have to come back this way. Nesk breaks his way into box. They're trying to recuperate. If they can get a couple of kills on this side, they might be able to swing some of the favor, but this mirror window can be deadly.
Just delayed on picking up the first repel in. Nesk, though, will find Renshiro. And again, Lagon is ducking in right behind the mirror window to provide some support. Likafak found a response. It's going to be a 2-on-4 situation now, and as Lagonis digs in a little bit deeper, he's afraid of the fact that the balcony outside might be used to find an entry on him. He's rightfully so. 40 seconds, 2 players out there, 2 coming up from the staircase behind him. Where's the first push heading from?
Lagonis gets aggressive at the top and gets the trade! Shaiko, he's able to at least stop it, but what a transfer to bring some of this back. Palu, he's just seen a body. He finds the rest, and Palu! Unbelievable!
2v5 clutch coming in from Liquid. They take the lead. Palu and Lagonis both picking up 2. Yes, the trait was there on the first, but not on the second. And Palu again alive. That's most important, because as soon as Palu and Nesk are both just gunning like crazy, there is no stopping Liquid. And Nesk started off a little bit earlier in the game. Palu, well, he's definitely been going like a bit of a steam train. 10 kills right now. And 6 on Nesk.
I mean, it's everything that Liquid fans have been crying out for this whole tournament. A performance like this when they needed it the most. Who else but Team Liquid? BDS, they're still playing it very well. They still had the good lead in the same way we sort of talked about some of the play before.
Yep.
But that X factor, that little something special, is starting to make its appearance in the recipe. And, well, Portuguese people have, speaking people, Brazilian people have very delicious food.
I haven't had the pleasure, actually, to go to enjoy the cuisine.
I see if French cuisine is rated better. I know what cuisine isn't. English cuisine.
Is that really a cuisine?
No, we do not have it. All right. I mean, 2 fantastic spray transfers. The 2 versus 5 clutch BDS. They've just got to fuel you. Haven't taken their time out. They know how close they were. They know it should have been their round. Just missed moments and mistakes cost them. EFAC instantly trying to batter down the hatches here above. They have the red ping, they have the follow-up fight. They don't quite have the right angle, and ooh, it's a dangerous take, but he finds the bonus at the end of it.
Still a lot of damage taken there, maybe a bit unnecessarily either way. Palu is the next to be spotted out. There comes the grenade from below. He's been removed. That's exactly what BDS need, a double entry again, but also finding those dangerous players on the side of Team Liquid. Ness trying to lean back in, hoping to find one, finds Alems as well, brings it back to a 4v3. Creates a rotation outwards as Liquefact is hoping to chase him down. Minute 40 on the clock. Round will slow down just for a second here now. Grenades are being tossed in, no one is actively being chased. BDS have an opportunity now to just recompose themselves, try and figure out where these players are, and then try and find the next isolation.
There's a bit of time, a bit of a tick back, and, you know, getting one body back earlier than otherwise. Slightly different hold, though, with the hard hatch. Look at the watch right above. Do they know that Ask is just peering over the edge here, waiting for Shaiko to put a little bit of him? The pull of the pin is a giveaway, and he leans right into it. Great take onto Renshiro, jumps into the next. Shaiko's just able to swap to the gun in time and make sure they can keep that one-man advantage. But with time wasted and Ness caught above, Resets is now the man of the moment to see if he can be the decisive factor and keep the drive. That C4 almost perfectly timed, but they're able to survive, and it wasn't the real.
So Gemini.
So, the first fight is the spray, the rotate down the corridor. It's Scrappy, they're above, behind, and all around. He can't quite get the full lock in. And there it was. As soon as they sort of got the read on where he was, it's hard to get out of that corner.
Wanted to go for the confirmation there onto Shaiko and wasn't quite ready for the next to peek. But Liquefact did a really good job there with the first 2 kills to come through. Of course, after that turned into a bit of a trade game for Liquid and BDS, but because BDS already had those 2 early entries, they were able to just continue that trading game without too much issues. Which leaves us at 4-4. Still, a game that is going to be back and forth. And we wouldn't want to have it any other way, as the previous major final is now being replayed in the first round of the lower bracket. Again, it's such a crazy thing to think about, that both these teams found themselves at, well, just like rounds away, or just rounds in time at the heights of their careers. And now they find themselves at potential knockout, days away from being at Blasbel.
If we will have seen 7 of the 9 map pool maps between these 2 teams by the end of this showdown, at least. There's only one doubling up, which is our map 3, I think, which is themed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we've seen pretty much every single current comp map between BDS and Liquid.
It's funny like that they were like, you know what, we're not going to be playing the same maps we played during that final map pool state change, of course. There's a preparative tool for a tournament like this. Took about preparation. Greeday quickly opens up the wall towards Snowmobile. It's going to be making sure that they have that one entry already going their way. Whereas the rest of BDS is currently knocking on the door to try and create something on the wine side of things, to keep them guessing, to, well, give yourself options as well. Liquefact already down below as well. He's just walking around. He's actually headed up now. I think he wants to take control of that hatch. There is a player of Team Liquid out there. Need to work together to take him out.
Well, Lagonis is getting calls, and there's a little bit of an eye, but there's also the stack up above as well. The loose Valkyrie at this point of Palu could cause problematic. There's the reveal of the player. How much do you send to shut this down? Do you trust that a single route, a single run can be the lock-in, or do you hope you force the motion? Ask. He's buying them an angle, and Resets buys a body. EFAC removed from the board. You lose the Habana. Palu, he wants to swing the window as another call comes out. They are putting pressure onto the site itself by the looks of it. The grenade does a lot of damage to Palu, but as Bride tries to slip the diffuser in down on red, they're still focused up here And there it is, Shaiko caught out. They want the control of the hatch. They don't get it. There's another for Palu, and out of nowhere, a flawless.
BDS decided to go just for the push in at that point, and everything fell apart. Already lost the initial kill, and weren't able to get that diffuser down.
Well, let's have a listen in.
Calme et tranquille. Concentre-toi sur ton jeu. D'abord, comme ça tu vas leur éclater leur grand crâne de mort. Mais calmez un peu les gars, calmez un peu la com, ça s'excite un peu trop. Tranquille, on a le temps, ok? Faut juste comprendre où sont nos erreurs là maintenant tout de suite, ok? Est-ce que vous de votre côté vous les avez vus ou pas?
Moi je les ai vus. Moi je pense qu'on a pris trop de temps de l'autre côté. C'était tous bébés et qui sont tous venus. Donc je pense que pour contrer ce playstyle là, il faut soit rentrer vite côté solar et les bloquer direct, ou soit rush BP.
Ça faut le calling game les gars, ok? Faut vraiment qu'on là maintenant, il y a 4-5. Faut qu'on mette tous les roues là les gars, ok? On n'a pas le temps de liaiser maintenant, faut qu'on y aille les frères, ok? Allez, vamos les frères, hein?
Allez, go les gars là!
Allez!
Pour ça, tu pouvais quand
on a rien à faire!
Super et il sait qu'il peut baiser. Du coup, je pense que je vais garder la même
Something 4-5, which is the current scoreline.
Maybe it's only 4-5, or it's just 4-5.
And my French isn't good enough to figure out which one it was. I know 4-5, you know, but
Yeah,
yeah, that's
I'm
about
proud of you.
Thank you.
I know less than that, so I can't.
I could literally just say that I know what they're saying, and then you would have no clue whether or not that's true or not.
No, you could have.
I could have, but there is people watching at home that probably do speak French. And
Yeah, Milos. He's
No,
not at home, he's
that's
watching
not
from
quite correct,
one wall over.
actually. So, yeah.
Bedroom. Back to the top here, BDS. I mean, you know, one of the rounds should have been theirs. They could have been sort of highlighting that, the 2 versus 5. They couldn't quite get it. There's no argument that that one wasn't the flawless. They went and tried to slip their way in. They were sort of struggling. It was the question I first posed, is how much do you have to dedicate to trying to clear out that player on the top? Do you go for the one-on-one, which to be honest on their day, their gunners are capable of? Do you bring a little bit more because, well, Liquid are gunning out? I mean, EFAC instantly, he's found his way slipping through. They have some drones and intels. They're looking to try and get some pressure underneath with the grenades as well. Maybe they might lean themselves up, just getting themselves the safety net of intel.
Early E1D spotted out 3 players as well, but of course it's that early on. Nothing really happens on the back of that. You don't have any opportunity to quickly reply. Other way, Ranchiro on the upside down rappel has a grenade in pocket, actually 2. Wants to be using it as well, but probably has to wait until some support comes in from the Solarium staircase, so they can start moving up and start isolating these players together. First rolls through. It's going to be just making sure that no one can actively play on that mirror window that has been located.
Oh, is that a default up?
Oh no.
Oh, that is frustrating. And you can see they've done the red ping to, you know, move away from the approach they wanted to go with there. They're saying you've got other things to focus on here, mate. There is maybe a prep jump out from the small box off to the right-hand side. They're playing high up on the window as well. They're going to dabble in, and there's the jump out I talked about. Palu from deep. They focused BDS's focus towards the wrong parts, and they punished them for the opposite. They're tucked under the bath. They're gonna have to get out of the way of that, and they win it. They really shouldn't. Nesk, he's still trying to go in. He at least gets picked back up. Lagonis goes down at a similar time. There's another finish over the border. Lems had to fight back, because if Liquid got away with that, then the energy of BDS would have been ripped out of this chalet. With Lagonis still down, 50 seconds. He's seeing if he can crawl somewhere survivable. They have the spray on the double, and Ranchiro locks it out. Bride, he's going for the plant and is picked up. Oh, the window even was the kill. It's a 1 versus 1. Palu versus Bride on the back end. One of the biggest clutch players the game's ever had. Can't beat one of the biggest gunners. It still has.
What a time to come back alive. I like how his entire team is just partying and he's just sitting there like, I'm back. Cheeky smile coming through. Well done by Palu. Again, a clutch coming out from him. keeps them in a good position, actually puts them in an even better, because that is a 6-4 map point. 2 of them even. And we're headed towards the bar and gaming room next. Are they gonna lock it off here? And you talked about how the energy of BDS would have been sucked out if it wasn't for that big play. Well, if you then get hit by a big play from the other side right afterwards when it should have been yours, that is gonna be just as harmful. Default setup coming out from Liquid here. See the shield on top of blue. See the Surya laser gates. Of course, we have the library that needs to stay in control for as long as they possibly can. And Reset's setting himself up for play around pantry, bar, and billiards.
Match point Liquid. And most of BDS's came a long time ago in this showdown. They really have to sort of bring some of that energy back, and I mean, it's not easy. There's no two ways about it. What do they focus on? Who do they try and fight? They're not quite able to get on top of the gun game. They're an even hand, but against the dominant one, they're sort of being driven around at this point. There was a lot that was lost here with the attention paid when they previously were trying to attack the basement. This time, obviously, the site's on the opposite end. They're one attack that they've been able to win. And, oh, Renshiro does find Barlu, and that's probably all of the BDS players let out a held breath there.
It's definitely an impactful one. Barlu, he's been dropping so many kills over this game so far. Removing him early on, it's going to be taking away a bit of a clutch factor. Shako just found out he was being watched the entire time he was droning. Spots out 2 players, and that means he's going to go on the hunt right now. He's going to do what he does best. Take players out of these weird situations where they should be having the upper hand on you. But if Shaiko's just a little bit sharper, just misses the head there, might be able to find himself with a kill and an opening for the rest of BDS.
They're going for the pressure over the top. They've forced the motion. You can see the rotation coming out. And there's Resets getting a Lems on that exact rotation. They pull back because Renshiro puts the pressure onto Nesk, finds a second for the round, and with a minute left, they've pulled themselves back in, the 2 remaining players in a 2 versus 4. But I think, as proven by Lagonis last time he was in a similar situation, it's far from over. 2 smokes still left as well. They can buy themselves some time on the drop of the hatch. The double window is still open underneath as well, so they know there's not just going to be a tucked plant. At this point, BDS, they're currently weighing things up. Efect does open that double, gives them something else, and there's the smoke response. You sort of have to play it from a bit of that long range. You have to force that utility use. The hatch opened way earlier. Renshiro suffering a bit from the spray up. Resets is so low though, blinded as the knock comes from Efect. They didn't see the rotate. They're close in with a shotgun, and resets. Efect back to the drawing board and rotates his way underneath. He's going to come up the back of Fireplace. There's the catch from Lagonis on the drop. Bride's got the kit. He's trying to find his way inside sight with Renshiro wanting the watch, but Lagonis gets the kit cold. Renshiro, all that's left of the French on Chalet, but he says goodbye.
Another massive 2v4 clutch coming up from Liquid. And I'm just